Welcome back, adventurers, to the Virtual Tavern. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get started on world building in Facebook Horizon Beta. Make sure to check the links down in the description and leave a like and subscribe if you like this content. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay guys, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go down to the Create menu. You can find that by clicking the Square and Circle tab down at the bottom here. In your Create menu, you can find featured worlds, your own worlds, tutorials, and invites for collaborations. You can also scroll through and it will show your own list of worlds down here. So I definitely recommend going through these tutorials as they do have a lot of really good information in them, and actually were a big help in getting started for me. But for now, let's go ahead and start a new world. We're going to go ahead and click on blank world, and we can just leave that as blank world for now, as we'll be able to change it later. So let's go ahead and hit create, and it's going to go ahead and start loading us in. So when you first spawn in, you'll notice that you spawn in preview mode. This is basically just the mode where you can walk around and check out your world and how things work. But what we want to do is go ahead and get into building. So we're going to pull down on our right trigger. I'm sorry, not our right trigger, our right thumbstick, and go into build mode. This is going to put you, of course, into build mode, where you are hovering above everything and flying around. Now, the first thing you'll notice is two menus in each of your hands. On the left, you have return to preview mode. You have undo, redo, and snap. This is going to set up a grid for you to snap to, as well as set up rotation snap. On your right hand, you have the grab tool, the duplicate tool, the paint tool, and the lock tool. We'll go into these more in depth later. For now, go ahead and hit your menu button to open up your build menu. This is going to be where you find your shapes, gizmos, sounds, etc. You can also find your paints here, your world settings, and find your scripting stuff. I'm not going to get into this because that is a topic for a whole nother video. For now, let's go ahead and just make a platform for us to stand on. So go ahead and just take any flat surface. I'm going to go ahead and pick this cylinder here. And I'm going to set it to snap so that we can snap it straight. And just set it on the grid here. It's not really super important how accurate you get that, because the grid will not show up once you actually publish your world. So we're just going to go ahead and place that here. And now we can edit the size by clicking these little squares here and pulling on them. We can also rotate the object with these arrows. And we can move it horizontally and vertically with these single arrows. So, like I said, we're just making a surface for us to build on right now, so we're going to lay it as flat as possible and just stretch it out. You can zoom in and out by using the grip buttons on your controllers and moving your arms in together or apart. You can also move around by just using one of your grip buttons to pull the world around you. So let's go ahead and stretch this out. To create our build surface. Or I should just say our ground. That'll work for now. So now we're going to take our player spawn point and select it. And we're just going to place him on top. Go back into preview mode to make sure everything looks okay. Looks good to me. And back into build mode. Now let's go ahead and make it look more like the ground, perhaps some grass. So to do that, we are going to go over to our paint tool, select a color, and you can actually change color palettes by using this drop-down menu. But for now, we're just going to use the Bold Discovery palette. And stick our selector into the object and pull the trigger to paint it. Drop your menu down and hit preview to make sure it looks how you want it. Once you're satisfied with that, we can go ahead and start building something a little bit more complicated. So let's go ahead and just make a little forested area. So what we're going to do is open our menu, go to build, and select something that looks like it would work well as a tree trunk. I'm going to go with the cylinder again. So we're just going to go ahead and place that on the ground. And we're going to just kind of reshape it to make it look more tree trunk-like. If you're having trouble getting things straight, you can actually go to your build menu and go to settings and set the snap angle or your grid units, etc. So now that we have our trunk, we're just going to go ahead and go over to our paint tool, go to style, and we're going to paint this guy brown. Once we do that, we can go ahead and give him some branches. So we're actually going to use the duplicate tool for this. So, when you select something with the duplicate tool, it will create an exact copy. You can also resize this exact copy by selecting one of the little grab boxes here, and it will make a duplicate that then you can then resize there on the spot. We're going to go ahead and just pull this guy out of there, and we're going to make him a little bit smaller to be used as a tree branch. Once you're satisfied with it, you can go to the duplicate tool and start adding them to your tree. By just sticking them into the trunk like so. Now you can actually also snap objects together by using these vertices here, but the only reason I'm not doing that now is because it's not really necessary. So let's just add a couple more branches here. Select this one because it's going to be our last. And let's go ahead and turn our object snap off for now, or our rotation snap. Just to kind of give it a little bit more of a natural look. And then you can take these and move them around until you like them. I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of one of these. And now we can go ahead and give it some leaves. Now we don't have a whole lot of options yet, as this is still in beta. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just make us some simple leaves out of some spheres. So go ahead and pull out a sphere, and you can resize this to any shape or size you want. And paint it green. And now, like we did with the branches, we are just going to select it, duplicate it, and just place our leaves where we want them. And again, you can resize these and reshape them however you like. Gonna go ahead and make this one a little bit bigger since we're using it for the top of the tree. And you can actually turn off the snap in the menu as well, or from this tool here. That way you don't have to sit there and play with the grid. Okay, so we've got our tree. So now we want to add a few more. So what we're going to go ahead and do, rather than make a whole bunch of trees individually, is go ahead and take our select tool and hold down the trigger. Now, what we can do from here is actually change our cursor size and use the sphere to select our entire tree at once. Once you are confident you have everything selected, you can go ahead and hit the select tool again. And if you hover over the object, you'll notice that you get the option to group. Go ahead and select that, and it's going to group it all into one single object. You can ungroup this at any time by doing the same motion, but we're going to leave it grouped for now. And just to make sure we don't accidentally select our bottom part here, we're going to go ahead and lock that. So pull down on the trigger and select your object. You'll notice that once you do, it will turn dark when you hover over it. This was to show you that the object is locked and cannot be edited. Now let's go ahead and duplicate our trees. Now, you don't have to make all the same tree. You can make 2 or 3 and duplicate them as you please, make them bigger or smaller. I'm just doing this for the sake of the video. And head into preview. And we have a small little forest. So guys, that is basically all you need to know to get started world building in Facebook Horizon. It is that easy. There are a couple more things you can do that get a little bit more complicated, and I will be sure to make videos on those later and go a bit more in depth if you would like. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them as best as I can with the best of my knowledge. But for now, have fun getting started building, and I will see you in the next one. I apologize, guys. Real quick before we go, I just want to let you know that you can exit this at any point and it will autosave, and you will be able to go back to it at any time. That is why there is not a save feature in the menu. I apologize that I forgot to mention that, and you all have a great day. So that's everything you need to get started world building in Facebook Horizon Beta. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments, and I will answer to the best of my ability. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video where I show you how to utilize the tools in the most efficient way possible.